Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Khan here, your host, back with another video on the New World Capital channel. And tonight, I'm going to be discussing the topic of why crypto is the future, why I believe it's the future, and you don't have to take my word for it. You've got top elites and bankers and elites in individuals in elite organizations, world global organizations that have been discussing this topic for a long time, that have been innovating, that have actually taken action into developing this new financial infrastructure and essentially redefining finance that we know today into something much bigger, much better in the sense, and something much more. To me, it's there's always a positive and a negative side to it. So I'm not gonna be too. I'm gonna try to be not too biased here because let's be honest, there's always a positive and a negative to things. So without further ado, let's dive into the video, and I want to start off with taking a look at the markets today. And of course, we recently just went through a big correction, especially on the altcoins. Bitcoin, I think, slumped about 16%. Altcoins, majority of them did a 50, 40, 20, 30% correction, and that was nasty. That was real nasty. And I think XRP did about 20, somewhere in the 20% corrections, back down to about 42 cents, I believe, which was still the biggest wick. Now we've closed above at, I believe, the 45%. Sorry, 49 cents. So kind of recovering a little bit, building a floor here. And uh, look, these corrections, they were bound to come. And historically, throughout time, before a Bitcoin halving, there's always a correction. There was always a big move to the downside, a healthy correction of about, like, if you look at Bitcoin back in, I think, 2020, before the 2020 bull run to previous all-time high, it went did a 16%, around the same 16% correction before running up to eventually that $69,000 range. So it's normal in this market, and historically it's played out. So I'm not sure if it's going to play out again, but it seems to be following that pattern. So nothing has deviated. Nothing to me has shown signs that we've deviated away from the bull run and the bull run's over and so forth. I don't think that's valid yet, especially with the correction that we just went through, because those corrections have met a lot of good demand zones and good support zones where it's still holding the structure for a bullish move to the upside. So not too much to worry about there. And then if we have a look at the reports from the RBNZ, because I'm from New Zealand, I'm living here in New Zealand, looking pretty rough. Not gonna lie. So the what I just had a look was the CPI. It does say we're back down to 4%, but the issue, no, it is an issue. It's the reason it's showing as a 4%, which is it is a drop from the previous quarter, is because of a lower price on on trade, essentially lower price on imported goods. And so essentially we do most of our trades through China and Singapore and so forth, and even Australia, and Australia gets the goods from China, but I think that relationship has not really been the most solid. China not going through such a good time over there economically, so they had to reduce prices on everything. So that would explain why the imported goods prices are lower, and so that helps makes the numbers a little prettier for New Zealand, for the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. But the real inflation is somewhere around 6%, and I could show you I think I will show you the economic indicators that a very prominent individual, a person that I respect in the economic in the economic space here in New Zealand, Satish Ranchod. He is phenomenal. I got to talk to him in person, asked him, asked him some questions. So that was shout out to you, Satish. And if we can have a look here, bear with me. As you can see here, Satish, senior economist at Westpac. Shout out to Satish. Yeah, the real inflation is hovering about 6%, whereas that's the actual inflation. But we have seen the technically the numbers show that the inflation is just above 4% right now, which is decreasing, but still there's still a lot of work for RBNZ to do in order to achieve a 2%, which personally I think a 2%, we're never gonna see a 2% inflation again, ever again, to be honest. But that's just my own thought process around it, and so that I'll just leave that as my own thought process. But not looking that great. And then of course we have the jobs report. This is the jobs report here. It has gone through a slump a little bit, and I believe the job ads as well has been slumping as well, so that's also not that great in that sense, and we have seen some layoffs recently within the past few months, so that's never good. But nonetheless, that is what's happening in New Zealand. Not looking that great, and growth is not there either. Gross domestic products is decreasing. It's down, I think, like 0.3 right now. It's down to 0.3% now, so on a yearly, so that's really bad. If I can just bring that back up here somewhere. It was through here actually. Bear with me. There we go. Yes, so on a quarterly, it's currently down. Just went down another negative 0.1, but annually it's down to 0.6 from 0.3 before, 1.3 the quarter before in September, and then in January it was at January last year it was at 3%. So not looking that great for New Zealand so far. But to be fair, let's be honest, it's not looking that great anywhere. So yeah, it's arguable. It's easy to kind of get caught up in, oh, it's going on terrible over here. We're suffering as the people, but everywhere else is suffering. So I just thought I'd make that clear. So the numbers and the charts show that things are not looking that great anywhere, including the crypto market. And this has raised a lot of uncertainties. People are now questioning and debating and fighting against each other. When should I invest? What should I invest in? Crypto's a scam and all that kind of stuff. And essentially, the money supply is so great now. The debt is so great, and the growth is not there, which has led to higher inflation, interest rates still remaining higher, and decrease in confidence of a rate cut, which everybody has been saying, oh, it should happen this year, it should happen by March, April, and nothing has happened yet. So yeah, it's uncertain times, and debt is not just countries' debt, but even people. The people, the credit card debt is out of control right now. It's a terrifying. It might be terrifying right now to some of you, and it's okay to feel that way. But just know that if you stay calm, if you take the time to study, to learn about these markets, to understand the cycles that we're in, I highly recommend watch the video. If you're like me, where you don't really like to read that much, I do like to read, but I just got a very short attention span. Not really. I think it's more like I I have ADHD, so I get distracted easily. But I do like to learn. I do recommend watching the Ray Dalio's Changing World Order video, which essentially summarizes up, I believe, his entire book of the Changing World Order by sums it up perfectly and sums it up massively. He studies 500 years back of the cycles of the power shift, the economic shift between countries, like all the way back from the Dutch to the United Kingdom to China, and of course the U.S. we have now, etc. So yeah, I highly recommend Changing World Order from Ray Dalio, and ever since watching that clip, ever since reading more into it, and ever since I started researching in the space of crypto and blockchain and DLT, distributed ledger technology, it's been a revolution for me, and I've learned so much about the financial infrastructure, the financial system, the cycles, the market cycles, and so forth. I've been able to identify where we are in the market today, and it's incredible. It's truly incredible. I learned so much more about the markets. I learned so much more about how people operate, how people think during volatile times, during uncertain times, and during even good times. So it certainly helps, and I have the Changing World Order to thank for that. But anyway, back to the video. So we have all these uncertainties. We have all these fear, uncertainty, and doubt FUD around all markets, crypto, and of course the economy and so forth. That's been going on for some time now. And then of course this FUD around XRP and so forth, and Ripple. XRP has been ranging sideways for a long time, guys. And I'm sure some of you have been in the space. Okay, I'm 99% sure most of you in this space have been in this space, been invested way longer than I have. And honestly, sometimes the patience have gotten to that patience, what's that saying? I have become impatient sometimes. It's just a feeling, the anxiety inside me that I can't hold back, and so I'm guilty of that. But just remember, this shift, this transformation of wealth is, to me, the biggest transformation of wealth in history. And personally, I think it's going to last a very long time after the shift, after the chaos, after the restructure and the rebuilding of cities, and essentially the backbone of an economy, of the city, in the tech industry and the innovation and so forth. After all this, it's going to last 200, 500 years. Not like how Ray Dalio has described it over the past 500 years, how every kind of 100 years there's this power shift. I truly think this is going to last a very long time, and I will explain later in this video. But for now, I'll jump into the reason why I made this video. Crypto is the future. So I want to take a look at this post here from the Bank of International Settlements, BIS, essentially the central bank of central banks. So in this post here, as you can see, the Bank of International the Bank of International Settlements put out a tweet, and they said, in the Finternet, it's hashtag unified ledgers, will not only improve existing financial transactions but also make entirely new financial products and transactions possible, and empower individuals and business. And then we have a look deeper into it. High-level architecture of the Finternet. Applications, e-banking, digital wallets, financial apps, non-financial apps. Central banks and commercial banks, asset management companies, private or public companies, real estate registrars. And then if we can see down here under the unified ledger, what's interesting here is we've got the unified ledger, which consists of tokenized equities, tokenized deposits, tokenized real estate, tokenized central bank money, which by the way, its tokenization has been a big topic lately, big subject around, again, elite institutions like BlackRock, World Economic Forum, HSBC just recently launched a tokenized gold. They tokenized physical gold and launched it on their, I think, a digital asset custody platform. And it's funny here that they mention the unified ledger here is to be unified by an interledger protocol. And what's funny here is interledger protocol is one of Ripple's main focus for a long time. And even on Investopedia, interledger protocol, what does it mean? How does it work? Interledger protocol is a blockchain protocol used for payments across different payment networks. The open source protocol connects ledgers from 2 or more different banks, thereby removing intermediaries and central authorities from the system. It provides to reduce costs and time required to process cross-border transactions. By the way, Ripple is big on that, on a separate mission. On the side, that's another mission that they're focused on with cross-border payments. Interledger is utilized by Ripple Labs to connect bank systems across borders, where Ripple XRP token functions as a standardized settlement layer between global banks, making Ripple somewhat akin to a digital Hawala service. Hawala, they mean essentially moving money when money's not there, or if you just quickly click on it, it'll explain. There, money transfer without money movement. That's what it is. You can have a look on this later on if you want. So, what's interesting is the Finternet. Or in other words, I like to think of this as what Ripple has described it as the Internet of Value. And I think BIS just decides to go with Finternet, even though it sounds a little corny. But anyway, Finternet, this is a big deal. Because you can see here, they say it's the financial system for the future. Guys, we're smack in the middle of it. We are smack in the middle of all this playing out. And I will dig more into this. But I don't know how to explain this. Everybody's so caught up on the short-term price action of, oh my god, Ripple, XRP just dumped 10% from 50 cent down to 40 cent, and the 40 cent to 60, yay, and then 60 to 50, oh my god, it's not moving, it's not doing anything. Guys, do you think the financial system for the future is just gonna roll out in a year or 2, maybe 3? No. They've been in the works for so long now. They've been building behind the scenes. Ripple has been building behind the scenes. The BIS, the World Economic Forum, BlackRock, they've been a part of this future for a long time now, guys. And it's not just BIS. It's Citibank. This is a post by Citibank, which, if I just go back up to the top, talks about the bank of the future. The ABCs of digital disruption in finance. And guess what they mention? They also mention Interledger Protocol back down here. Let me just find that again. Yep, here it is. Look at that. The Interledger Protocol, so also interoperability. Yes, Ripple's big on that with XRP. Ripple and XRP are different, just remember that. Ultimately lead to building an entire network of trust and facilitate peer-to-peer payments. IOP could help reduce settlement times and facilitate low-value payments, essentially moving money at the speed of light while costing pennies. Well, it costs pennies to move them. So very efficient and very effective technology. Now, what's at the center? The XRP pool. Ripple is smack in the middle of this, guys. Real-time value exchange and Ripple XRP. XRP, not Ripple, actually. I mean, Ripple does utilize XRP, but this is XRP specifically in the middle of the real-time value exchange pool right there. And if that's not enough to convince you, HSBC launches digital assets custody service. Who did they launch it with? HSBC is working with Swiss enterprise tech firm Metaco to use its institutional platform Harmonize as part of HSBC's new custody service for digital assets. Ripple just acquired Metaco. They bought up Metaco for about $250 million. And not just Metaco. They also bought up another, it was a trust. Yeah, it was a trust fund in New York. I think it was something like a digital asset trust fund in New York. It's something around that. I'll give that into a separate video. I'm sure you guys know about it. If you've been in the space for a while, you probably know about it now. But I also wanted to come down here and show. Oh, here we go. So this is John O'Neill, global head of digital asset strategy at HSBC, and he said, I'm excited by the forthcoming launch of our new custody service for digital assets, which will complement HSBC Orient, our platform for issuing digital assets, as well as our recent launch of tokenized physical gold. Tokenization is coming. It's the next big thing. It's the next big, essentially, headline, I guess. And who's focused on that? Metaco, who is acquired by Ripple. Metaco is the custody service, provides custody service, sorry. And Ripple has been looking to tokenize the real estate market. They have been interested in tokenizing the real estate market. They're trying to build more utility and liquidity to the XRP ledger right now. And they are doing that by, sorry, let me just bring this back. Yes, Ripple is also heavily focused on tokenization as well. They've talked about tokenizing real estate. I think they've talked about it in, I don't know if there was, I can't remember if there was any real action behind that yet. Of course, acquisition of Metaco definitely helps contribute to that factor, to the headline. But at the same time, Ripple is currently building out more utility on the XRP ledger. They are trying to bring more liquidity to the XRP ledger with the launch of their stablecoin, which is also going to be, to me, I think it's very ambitious. It's a very ambitious project, and I think it's going to be very good for the XRP ledger in terms of liquidity. And since stablecoin regulations has been in the talks for a while, Janet Yellen has been touting it for a long time. Same as what's her name, Elizabeth Warren. But let's be honest, when it comes to crypto, to be fair, when it comes to her in general, she's just been funny. Let's just put it mildly. I don't want to insult anybody. I don't want to just say anything to anyone like that. So, but nonetheless, guys, tokenization is here. It's coming, and this essentially could be the front line to unlocking a utility run within the crypto space. And then, of course, you put on regulations too, which will essentially cut out all these scams and memes and whatnot, things that don't actually contribute anything to the space. And when investors start to see that meme coins don't do anything, prominent investors, I mean, they're gonna pull the money out just like the dot-com bubble. I firmly believe that. I don't know if that will happen. And of course, this is a new technology, so it's hard to say what it could do, what it will do, what it can't do. So it's hard. I'm certainly nobody to say that, but that's just how I see it right now. And the narrative and the way that the market is going at the moment, the crypto market is essentially pointing towards that. So that's how I see it. But nonetheless, I want to touch in a little bit more into how big tokenization really is. Now, on this next article here from Forbes, yes, now Forbes are starting to push it. Now, these kind of mainstream platforms and articles are starting to push the tokenization and blockchain narratives and so forth around Bitcoin ETFs, or we all know that one. But it's not just that, it's now around kind of what crypto was really all about in the first place, which is utility, which is efficient, essentially an efficient innovation for finance. So, in this article here from Forbes, so now we can see asset tokenization revolutionizing global finance from Forbes. And if I scroll down here, you guys can read through the whole thing in your own time. Just scroll down a little bit. Yeah, this is actually very important too, but I wanted to get to this point, which I think speaks more volume than the rest of the article. Where was it? Not there. Here we go. So this is to prove that it's not just BIS or Citigroup or HSBC talking about tokenization, custody, and intellectual protocols and whatnot, and essentially creating a new financial system. Goldman Sachs, Citi's there, JP Morgan are embracing blockchain to refine their operations and lead the adoption of tokenization in finance. Larry Fink of BlackRock predicts that tokenization. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, which they manage, I think, about $14 trillion in asset value, so biggest in the world essentially, predicts that tokenization will redefine the next generation of markets and securities. In line with this vision, BlackRock has launched a build token based on BlackRock USD, aiming to provide daily yield. Blah blah blah. Where was that? There was something down here. Sorry guys, bear with me. Yes, XDC. I will talk more about XDC in another video. I think I'll talk more about this in the next video, because XDC is also making major moves in the trade finance. So definitely something to watch out for, XDC. But I'm so sorry. There was something here that it was there, but it must have been a different article or something. Sorry guys. But anyway, in that case, we'll just use this. There we go. We'll just use this. So the world of finance on the brink of seismic shift as cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology revolutionize how we perceive, interact with assets. And then if we scroll down here, Digital Asset Manager 21.co estimates the market for tokenized assets could reach a staggering $10 trillion in a bullish scenario and $3.5 trillion in a conservative outlook. Now, I'm pretty sure tokenized assets here he's meaning about, I think, around the stock market and so forth. And that's maybe, it's not all of it. I think this was a prediction till about 2025-ish. That could get to about $3 to $10 trillion. But guys, the value of real estate market is about north of $300 trillion. And then of course this also talks about tokenizing debt, which is a way of restructuring the debt so that it has more utility, so that it can be distributed in a more efficient way. That's quadrillions. I think there's about 400 trillion in global debt, I think, right now, and the derivative markets is, I think it was a derivative market. So it was about in the quadrillions of dollars in value. Imagine all that gets tokenized in the next 10, 20 years from now. Imagine that. How crazy would that be? Ripple at the center of it. Not just Ripple. XDC I mentioned briefly. Quant is also a big player in this space around Digital Pound Foundation. Stellar. There's so many projects around here, around in this crypto space, in this blockchain space that have been mentioned, and not only been mentioned, they're working with these massive institutions like the BIS, like HSBC, like Citigroup. Not to forget, 15 executives went to meet with Ripple CEO back in 2018, I believe. 15 executives went up to their offices, to Ripple's office. What are they doing there, I wonder? So, guys, this is, if this doesn't scream the greatest transfer of wealth to you, I don't know what does. And like I've briefly mentioned how I've kind of lost patience a few times, and no, I never sold my assets, but every time I do research in the space, I look at, it's not just articles, it's also the action they're taking behind the scenes. It's the action that's happening right now as well, economically, with the data, with the charts, with the geopolitical issues as well. That tells me, speaks to me that, let me bring this back to me. All the indicators, the economic indicators, the charts, the research around the space, the PDF documents, the projects that these massive institutions are working with these private sectors, it tells me, it screams to me, there's a great shift happening here, a seismic shift happening in the financial markets. And there's, like I said, there's a positive to it, with the CBDC being implemented, which it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Even though some people are saying, "Oh, it's never going to happen," it's like, no. 90% of banks are already looking and working to build it now. So, yeah, good luck stopping that. But all the more reason why you should focus today, guys. Focus. Position yourself. Do your research. And learn. And if you're a young guy like me, if you're a young guy or gal like me, what I find is the best thing to do is to shut up and listen. Shut up and listen and watch what they're doing. Also, I wanted to make a point. I work in building compliance in the council, and I have noticed that the amount of building consents has decreased dramatically. Like, I finish, so we get allocated a certain amount of work, and there wouldn't be enough work for me. So, and I had to go and answer queries and do all sorts of different things. But normally there was enough work for everyone every day to essentially be stressed out about it. I've barely been getting much work. Like, I could handle the amount of compliance schedules, the amount of wanted fitnesses that come through the inbox. In general, I could handle all of it within a day. So, yeah, it's been pretty bad in New Zealand. That's a little more fire to the fuel, I guess. But that's just the way it is right now. Anyway, this is why blockchain, crypto is the future, guys. And you have to focus. You have to be careful. Diversify. Don't be too diversified, but diversify your money in this space. Not financial advice, but learn about it. That's my best advice. Just look into it. Do some research. If you have questions, feel free to ask away. If I don't know it, I'll ask somebody that does know it. I'll find the answers for you. But it's happening one way or another. And then there's a couple more things I want to show you in this video, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'll just quickly jump into it. So this is a video from President Trump, and we've been hearing this saying a lot around a level playing field, and President Trump here makes a very good point. So this is when Trump was still president, and he made a very good point here. He really helps me kind of see out how we could be, how the future of finance could look in essentially the near future, and how we could be in a level playing field with competition, countries and people being able to compete fairly and so forth. And so he's gonna he's gonna dive into it in this video. I'm gonna show you here now. Okay, pay attention to what he's saying here.
As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field. Because that's the only way it's fair. That's the only way that you can fairly compete in trade and other things. And we will be on that field, and we will all be working very hard to do great for our country. But it has to be fair, and we will make it fair. I think the United States is going to be an even bigger player than it is right now by a lot when it comes to trade. A lot of that will have to do with our tax policy, which you'll be seeing in the not too distant future. We'll have an incentive-based policy much more so than we have right now. Right now, we don't even know, nobody knows what policy we have. But we're going to have a very much incentive-based policy. We're working with Congress, working with Paul Ryan, working...
And the term level playing field has been pushed out into the crypto market and essentially the financial around the financial industry for a very long time. We've heard it from Ripple, we've heard it from CEOs, of course Trump's, and then BRICS is also another one who has been calling for a level playing field as well. And the way I see this happening is with the Interledger protocol. Give me a second. So a level playing field has been a phrase touted by a lot of prominent individuals within the crypto and finance space, and even through the BRICS. And as you just saw, I want to touch on something that Trump said, which was, of course, around the level playing field, and there was something that he said, I'm pretty sure it was him that said it, around a basket of currencies. So he envisioned it in the sense that it's a level playing field where countries get to put their currency in a basket, and essentially everyone's even within that basket. So whatever you pick out, you pick out. But that also means whatever you receive, so whatever you send, you can take it out, and whatever you receive, you just take it out, and it'll be interoperable with what we just saw with Interledger protocol and essentially Finternet, the Internet of Value. And if you have been in the space and you've been investing into XRP and researching around Ripple and XRP for a long time, you'll know that Ripple's purpose with XRP is to make XRP the reserve bridge currency. Now, if you studied ODL, on-demand liquidity, you'll know that the way that Ripple utilizes XRP to facilitate cross-border payments efficiently within 3 seconds for pennies as a cost. You'll know that the way it works is, say Brazil, let's just say China, sends their yuan through the XRPL to, let's just say, the US. And the US wants it as a dollar. Now, what's special about XRP is not only does it settle quickly and it's it costs pennies and so forth, and it's scalable. You can actually convert that XRP. So China sends a yuan as XRP, so it converts the yuan to XRP, sends it. XRP gets converted, gets transferred 3 seconds into US, and then when it reaches that bank, it converts it into whatever currency they want, whatever the currency the US wants. So the interoperability, that ability to essentially free up capital and even currencies, interoperate with currencies and the amount of money that's being sent and so forth. That is, if you imagine it, what if Ripple achieves this with XRP? What if XRP does become that world bridge currency? And where would you think the demand for such a currency be? It would be crazy. And then this market is trillions of dollars, quadrillions of dollars. Tokenization alone of the stock market, it's already trillions. Even a few percentage of that is worth $3 trillion. I don't think I need to explain any more about this. I think that's plenty to go into. And one last thing I'll say, and I'll elaborate on why I think this transfer of wealth, this power shift, according to Ray Dalio. Sorry, the power shift meaning his theory of the power shift, and he has studied on it for a long time. So I guess it's not theory; it's him teaching us, and how this is different is because 500 years ago. So he went back 500 years ago. The currencies that was being printed and the commodities that were there back then in the day, they were physical, of course, and so they had to move it. They had to put it on as many ships as possible, many planes as possible, and whatever. Today, it's digital, which means it can be infinite. Now, if you tokenize gold, which you can peg a digital currency, say, to gold, so that it has that value, it has a real intrinsic value behind it. You can peg it to 0.0001% of 0.0001 gram of gold. One token can be tokenized around the value of that little amount of gold there. It can. And guess what? It's infinite. There's no printing it. There's no minting it. It's a fixed supply. I mean, it could be printing it, but to be fair, it's infinite anyway. So it's just infinite money. So they would have to have real value backing it. And so this is also why I think this is going to last a long, long time. Or it could be a very short time and it could just collapse after 10 years, 50 years. Yeah, sure. I could be wrong around that. But when it's digital, I just don't see it how it could be. Because there's so much that could be innovated in the digital space. And we already see it with Metaverse, in the gaming aspect, in the gaming industry. We see how big that, and we see how massive that industry is around gaming, Metaverse, and so forth. Money is pouring into that space. You have to ask why. Why is money pouring in there and not, more important things? So, I'll leave you guys with that. I hope you understand what I was trying to go through. I'm still working on this talking to the camera stuff. It's really difficult, more difficult than it seems. So please bear with me. I will get better. If you like the video, if you like the updates, please be sure to subscribe and like the video and share it far and wide. Let's we're trying to educate the people. We're trying to essentially help people understand what's coming. Yes, it's gonna be chaotic. Yes, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be beautiful at the same time. It's going to be all out war at the same time. But the end result, I think it could be a very promising future. But anyway, that's just my personal thoughts on it. And so nobody knows for sure if this is going to happen or not. Certainly not me. I'm just trying to pay attention, connect the dots here. So with that being said, thank you for watching the video. I will see you all in the next video. Remember, like and subscribe. And have a good night.